Aloha. So, what is discernment? Before I answer that, I'm going to identify that within this program, you're going to find a lot of hows. So, you're going to find what's, but how to do it. And one of the things our minds does a lot initially is it comes up with the question why. Why is this happening? Why did they do this? Why is my mind thinking this? There's a lot of whys. If you can change that why to how, that is one good technique that will help you. So, how can I get past this? How can I comprehend it? How can I learn to meditate or whatever it is? But change the why to a how. And discernment is one of these things that you're going to employ in the how. So I'm going to explain to you how to discern, and this is going to carry over in a lot of different things. But the first thing is, what is discernment? Discernment is basically distinguishing something, evaluating, maybe identifying between two or more. Sadhguru has a book named Inner Engineering, and I will go over his definition of discernment because it cleared it up very well for me. But if you have Amazon Prime, you get one free credit through audiblebooks.com. I highly encourage you to listen to Inner Engineering many times. If you prefer to read, you can probably find it anywhere. So Sadhguru recommended once on a YouTube video to not believe anything he says. And I employed that and I tried it out. And my recommendation to you is to adopt the same mentalities, to not believe anything, for you to evaluate this information. It's the best way to do this is by experimenting, and knowing can only be obtained by your own personal experience. So to understand discernment, I'm going to identify two dimensions of thinking that are going on. And I believe in the West, many of us have a difficulty. And in the West, this dimension of thinking is as illustrated. Now, the mind is represented as the green and the red circle, and the world is represented as the world. The world also represents truth and the now. So our minds have a difficult time discerning or figuring out the truth or this world because we're filtering it through our belief structure. And when life doesn't turn out the way we believe it, we're legitimately confused. And this causes a lot of problems for us. And I'll call this mental health. Basically, we're not able to solve problems. That's the biggest issue. We're not seeing things that we should. So in the East, they see life a little differently. And I think you may have sensed this, is the difference with the East and the West is simple, is there is a balance between the world and who they are. There's a balance with nature. There's an acceptance. And with this balance is they're aware of the two dimensions, the inner world and the outer world. So the quest in life is not to reside in this type of mentality, it's to evolve. And in the East, I believe that they share a similarity with science, where science, the ego of a scientist is secondary to what is being observed in the world. And this scientific approach is an inquisitive approach to try to take out our own biases from what's being observed. Whereas I would say more in the West, this is more a belief system. So as we evolve from belief to a scientific mind, there's yet a third option for us to attain. And this is a greater knowing. And this represents what we should get to, is to realize our minds and what we believe of this world is but a fraction of the whole. And when we understand this mindset and we can put our minds on the side and try to experience this world, what you'll find is this is where we think outside the box. And this is where I think Einstein was able to create the beautiful theories that he saw, that he perceived in his mind. So this is where creativity is. This is where awareness is. This is the now. This is experiencing life. So the world represents what's going on now. Okay? So the discernment for us needs to be between our mind, what we think about things, what we believe about things, compared to the outside world. So this is discernment. So when we're in the body, as Sadhguru explains, we're constantly thinking about what other people are thinking. Our discernment is trying to figure out who we are. Our discernment is trying to figure out what other people think of us. And this is where a lot of us get stuck. But as you evolve to realizing, quite possibly I'm not the body, because maybe I'm this mind. So as we start using the mind and we start learning and we start discerning, the discernment process enhances and we become more in depth with being able to figure out what is real and what is not real, meaning what is in our mind and what is out of our mind. And this is to enhance over time. This is a skill. So meditation is one of the interventions to help enhance our perspective. As we go inward, this affects us in many different ways. Okay? So in understanding everything, I want you to just identify now that this discernment we're talking about, I believe in the West, we discern more right now as likes or dislikes. This is wants or fears, and this affects our attention. So if we like something, we pay attention. And if we don't like something, then we don't pay attention, which affects our ability to learn. And this is an emotional trigger of something that is going on in the outside world that simply we don't like. So to get past this, to be aware that our attention is really triggered by our emotions, that we need to start enhancing discernment like a volume. So think of discernment as a volume. So you have a volume for your mind, which is your fears and your wants. We want to turn that one down. And the discernment for the outside world, we want to crank that up. So these two different points within us is not an on and off switch. It's more an ability for us to use it as a volume to crank it up and crank it down. So in this process, you're going to realize that time is relative, and in your moment, time will change and your experience will change to the content you consume and your ability to discern. And one of these things you'll realize over time is the beauty of you putting in the work and you listening to this content. As you do something in the outside world, which is you push play and you expose yourself and your mind is hearing these things, it does something to the inside world. So the more we do something in the outside world, we change the inside world. And one of the benefits that you'll have from your action of learning and trying to increase your discernment is that your ability inside, your tolerance will increase naturally. Your experience will improve and your ability to tolerate things will increase as well. So this all comes from us understanding the difference between belief and knowing. And I'm hoping that I can prove to you and show you that truth is found outside of our minds, that we have to enhance our consciousness to get past our minds, to start seeing life as it truly is. Good luck on your journey. Aloha.